Hello, everybody. Welcome into Tiger Talks Wrestling. I am your host. My co-host, Eddie from the box. Welcome in, man.
Hey, how you doing? I am so sorry, Tony. We're doing this late, but I just got a call from the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, and they want me after the show to gobble my ass back to New York so I could be the grand turkey for this year's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So if you see somebody going, it's me, Eddie, the turkey from the Bronx.
Nice. That would be perfect. I couldn't think of a better person than that.
Most definitely, and I'll wear this too to show people, yes, we are the kings of New York.
Exactly. I heard your team picked up Juan Soto today, so they keep it.
Not yet, but we gave him more money.
Yeah. Offering him more money. Anyway. Thank you, everybody, by the way.
New York Yankees. We're the New York Yankees. Clear out the bank account. I don't give a shit if we have to give that guy, $8 million. Get him back on the team.
Right. That's for sure, because Alonso is worth it. He proved it in the playoffs for the Yankees, really.
Yep, he was our savior. He was our savior when Aaron Judge couldn't hit the ball. And I love Judgy, but Juan Soto helped us get to the World Series. And yes, we lost to the Los Angeles Dodgers, who picked up another all-star player. That whole team's going to look like a bunch of all-stars. You know what? I'm going to predict it. It's the World Series champion, Los Angeles Dodgers, going up against the American League All-Stars and National League All-Stars in next year's All-Star game in Atlanta. For the love of God, it's the Dodgers versus the All-Star team. I mean, for God's sakes, every position is an all-star team. It's not fair, but I can't say nothing. George Steinbrenner used to clear his bank account, get all these players, but my God, how many players do you need to win another World Series?
As many as you can get, I guess.
I know, and I know why, because they want to repeat, because the last time a team that repeated was 98, 99, 2000, and that was us. No other team has ever done it again.
Right.
And that has stood for almost 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoops. Wrong button. Oops, I hit Survivor Series too. Mine at 15, not 13. Oh, before Survivor Series shows that we're on here to talk about, thank you everybody that's watched the first 3 retrospectives of Survivor Series. First of all, we appreciate it. Pretty good numbers on there right now.
Most definitely.
Views, but really good. We'll get to these Bo on yesterday's show before we go in there. We talked a lot last night at the end of his debut at the end of Survivor Series in 2014. We can't forget how impressive Dolph between Team Authority. It was 3-on-1, and Dolph Ziggler managed to beat all 3 of those members of the Authority to win that match. So that's something I'll bring up again towards the end of this show, because there's certain things to do with going the distance, if you will, in Survivor Series matches. But I just want to mention that as well before we jump into 20.
Most definitely, I got to give it up to Dolph. I'm going to say he's one of the underrated superstars, former superstars of the WWF or WWE. The man was a workhorse. I always felt like every time he tried to
That he
get up
was.
to that he tried to get up to that notch, to that upper, he stood so long. And technically, when you see him as world champion, and the only title he really held was world heavyweight title, and he didn't held it that long. I feel like he should have got a better, because he lost it to Del Rio, and they made
Right.
like this stupid thing that he had a concussion, and he really never got that momentum back. And I feel like he's a workhorse, and he has more Intercontinental Championships. He's up there with Jericho, Miz, and it's like
Kofi.
Kofi, and he should have got more accolades. I don't know how many tag team titles he has. I know under the Dolph Ziggler name.
Right.
And people, if you could, under the people don't understand what I'm saying. The Dolph Ziggler name, the character, how many tag team titles he had, and when you mentioned Nikki, that was with the Spirit Squad, and that was a whole team that was a tag team champion. So you can't count that a part of his other character that was apparently supposed to be from Australia. If you look at some past meaning, he was coming out talking like he was from Australia, and then they just completely dropped it.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that, honestly.
I feel like the path of Dolph Ziggler is better now that he's in TNA as their world champion under his real name. And I feel like there's a guy there, if you say his name, he will appear, is getting the same treatment Dolph got in WWE. So hopefully Joe Henry becomes world champion.
Hopefully. Sooner rather than later.
But I feel like he's going to have more success in WWE when he debuts in February at the Royal Rumble.
More than likely, yes.
Yeah, him and Ricky Starks.
Well, we'll see about that because last I seen, yes, Ricky Starks, his current AEW contract goes through either the spring or summer of next year.
It's a mess.
So
it is a mess with his contract. I feel so sorry for him.
Right?
This is when you have an owner. When you have an owner's a big wrestling fan and he just buys WWE rejects or WWE guys that are not in the company anymore and makes them their world champion.
Yeah. No offense to Max, but how many times can you have a guy as your world champion?
Most definitely. And guys, next week, if we go to watch NXT, it will be return of the man that tried to destroy WWF in the Attitude Era from the Monday Night Wars, former WCW Executive Price President, and still one of the members that should have never been in the NWO, Eric Bischoff.
One little accolade in there for saying his name. The greatest Monday Night Raw general manager of all time.
Oh, yeah. All right, yeah, I do agree with that. I do agree with that because, yeah, the list sucks after that.
Which is funny to say because
I got two for
Mick Foley was even on the list of general manager for Raw.
I mean, how many times can Mick do it? I love Mickey, but my God. We could always say the worst general manager of Monday Night Raw was Mike Adamle.
Which is saying something considering we had to put up with the anonymous general manager for so long.
And then we found out it was Hornswoggle.
Yeah. Sure it was. I know that's who they revealed it as, but still.
Yeah. Oh, for the love of God! I mean, Mike Adam Lee, you should have just stood with American Gladiators.
He should have. He should have never came to WWE. He sucked as a commentator and as a general manager and anything he did.
And that was his second turn. That was his second time in WWE. He did it in the '80s and then in the 2000s. Yeah, stop you.
Yeah.
Go play with Turbo. You know,
Right?
like stop. SmackDown, I got Teddy Long. I love Teddy. Every time in the main event, it's gonna be a tag team match. Yeah, you got to go with Teddy, and then Mrs. Helmsley herself. You know, Stephanie McMahon Helmsley or Stephanie Levesque. So I gotta go with Stephanie and Teddy Long.
I mean, Nick Aldis is doing a great job right now, I feel like, as well. But yeah, I would definitely.
Oh no, I do. I understand that part, but I want to see Nick Aldis in the ring.
Wrestle. Yeah. You see the QR code there. Click on that. Scan that at any point in time, whether watching now or watching later. That'll take you right to the Tiger Fox Wrestling YouTube page. You want to catch up with us if you're watching this and want to catch a different episode, please feel free to click on that. And please hit that subscribe button if you don't already. That way you know anytime we go live. Give us a like, leave a comment. We'll be happy to talk about it as we're going
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen,
on here today.
And then
the series retrospective part 4.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and it will not take you to the Wyatt 6.
No, it won't take you to the Wyatt 6. Because we have nothing to do with the Wyatt 6. We are just Tiger Talk.
Damn right.
Yeah. All right. Now let's jump into some bit. We left off with 2014 Survivor Series yesterday. We're gonna
creepy.
Jump in 2015 Survivor. So there was some interesting things leading up to the Survivor Series. There was reports of a threat in the arena in Atlanta leading up where Survivor Series was going to take place. The day before, there was rumors of a threat from ISIS that tried to get WWE pretty much to delay or cancel the show, but WWE went on it, and nothing ended up coming out of the ISIS threat, so that was a good thing. Tonight, it was a very interesting night, and a new WWE World Heavyweight Champion title was vacated previously. Qualifying matches, the 2 semifinal matches. First up, Roman Reigns defeated Walter, and then Dean Ambrose defeated Kevin Owens, as those 2 guys would go on to the finals that we'll get into later. I remember both those matches, and honestly, I think maybe Kevin Owens should have been the one KO and Roman instead of Roman versus Dean, and had Roman and Dean later on. That's just my opinion. Then you go in the next match.
I agree with that part.
Yeah. Next match was the Survivor Series elimination match, which was technically the second one because there was one pre-show. And Ryback teamed up to beat King Barrett, Sheamus, and the New Day. The New Day is heels. Gee, I wonder if I might see something similar to that here soon.
Yeah,
Ryback, Kalisto, and Juice were the sole survivors in that match. But main event, Jey Uso was also survivor.
Wow.
Interesting. Also on the show, defeated Paige to retain the Divas title. Prince Pretty, Tyler Breeze defeated Dolph. I forgot all about that. The Tyler Breeze had a victory over Dolph Ziggler on a pay-per-view.
Wow.
And then in what was the semi-main event because this marked, of course, 25 years of the Dead Man in WWE. He was teaming up with his brother Destruction went against the Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt and Harper with Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan. Watching this match, I should have watched it back again last night, but I didn't think about it. But I still remember seeing Undertaker and Kane. This was how we'd seen those two as a tag team. But it was so nice to see them get this spot and kind of a celebration for the Undertaker at that time and see the Brothers of Destruction pick up a win. Wyatt's, the Wyatts in a way could have used it, but you kind of knew going in that Taker and Kane were going to get it.
I think with that match, yes, we all knew it, that it was celebrating the debut of the Undertaker. Because every time when you see it, man, 25th anniversary of the Undertaker's debut at the Survivor Series against Dusty Rhodes' team. Yeah, it was cool. But the one thing I liked about it was the coffin that came down and it had all his different versions of himself, through the years. And I thought it was a very classy way to honor his career at 25. And then look at what we got 5 years later. That shit show that we got when he in the Thunderdome. I mean, that was the shittiest moment for him as a in-ring competitor coming down and there's no fans to honor him. We'll get to that one, but I felt like this one was, and to me, I feel like if you look at the Undertaker's body in 2015, I think this should have been his last match.
I could see that. Yeah, kind of glad it wasn't, but with that, but yeah,
no, was, I know. I'm a big Taker fan, but he was slow. He was like he wasn't the same man from the previous Survivor Series, and Kane looked like he was in the back eating donuts.
I know, right? Yeah, neither one of them were really full at this point, so.
No.
Anyway.
But yeah, it was a good tribute. It was a good tribute to Taker's career.
So they went from there. Of course, you have the tournament final to declare the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, which saw Roman Reigns beat his brother in arms, Dean Ambrose, in a definitely could have been better because that was way too short of a time. I felt like for that. Of course, after the match, as we would see, the cashed in, and Sheamus would actually 2015 as the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Mohawk and all.
The last time to ever hold a world title.
That was his last time as champion. As world champion, anyway. So. It was an interesting tournament, though, looking back at the names that were in it. Roman, Big Show, Cesaro, Del Rio, and Ambrose to win it. And Ziggler and Kevin Owens to get to the finals, so.
Tyler Breeze in a WWE Championship match. What the hell?
I know, right? I think that was crazy. Titus O'Neil was even in this tournament. So it's Roman and Big Show, Cesaro and Sheamus, Del Rio and Stardust, Kalisto and Ryback. Kalisto beat Ryback, too. Titus O'Neil and Kevin Neville. But
Kalisto?
Yeah. Beat
Really?
Ryback to advance to the second round. I agree. Ryback should have been the one to win there, but
wow. I mean,
all of a sudden, Barrett, Dolph Ziggler, and The Miz. It just, in a way, shows you how.
Put R-Truth.
Yeah, it just in a way showed you how scene really was. I would say in 2015 for WWE when they had to use a lot of smaller name guys in there.
Jesus. Now we know why. Now we know why Ryback is an asshole towards the WWE.
Right? That was a decent Survivor Series anyways. Huge fan of Sheamus with help from the Authority being the one to walk out with the championship. That's what it was. Best part of it was the Undertaker tribute. I felt like got a comment. So before I move on to 15, let's see what that is. Once decides to cooperate. Daniel Gonzalez back in the comment section again. I don't know how well it shows it on here, but it shows a face turquoise covering eyes. That's what it just says.
Okay.
You said that's your neighbor.
But thank you for commenting. So. I got someone. No, that's not my neighbor. My neighbor's. But hey, thanks, Daryl.
Not a neighbor, but
Gonzalez, thank you. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate you, and we hope that you subscribe to Tiger Talk Wrestling for more of us talking about what we love, and that is wrestling.
Exactly. All right. So move on.
But look what happened after. Look what happened after this. Roman won the title back from Sheamus, and then at the Royal Rumble that year,
in 2016,
Roman put the title up. Yep, Roman Reigns put the World Heavyweight Championship in the Royal Rumble match. That was the second time that had happened since 1992.
Roman Reigns was forced
we had a great thing. But look at this. Look at this. Look at who we got out of that Royal Rumble that year in 2016. The phenomenal AJ Styles, who lasted a long time, and then we already know who eventually won was Triple H coming out and winning the title. Then Roman won it at that year's WrestleMania, which was okay. You didn't need to have Triple H win the world title, right? But that was WWE at that time. So, and I think Daniel Bryan was a part of that too. He wanted the title, and I had it at Roadblock.
Yeah, I think so.
Roman versus, hey.
Roman and Daniel, they'll see who go on to face Triple H.
Yeah, and I think Triple H wrestled Dean Ambrose at that event.
Yeah. You're right. That might be an event we have to. That was a good show.
Yeah, it was.
All right. So,
all right, let's move on to the next one.
Before we go too far into this 26 Survivor Series, of course, new version of the brand split, brand separation, if you will. So, you went through how WrestleMania happened that year, and Roman walked out. Come SummerSlam 2016 would see the Universal Championship get debuted after it was defended at Survivor Series. But 2016 would see the Universal Championship get debuted. And then, of course, the Universal Championship, of course, was defended at WrestleMania. And then both brands had their own teams, and this would be the return of brand versus brand supremacy, if you will. Here in 2016, we were in Toronto, Ontario, Canada on November 20th. Kicking off the show was the women, as we had Team Raw versus Team SmackDown on the 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. Team SmackDown was led by SmackDown, I believe she was already at that point the SmackDown Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. Carmella, Naomi, and Natalya, 5-on-6, as the women would call themselves, because there was only 6 women really on the roster at that point. Against the Boss, Sasha Banks, Alicia Fox, Nia Jax, Bayley, and of course the team captain of Team Raw Women's Champion, the Queen, Charlotte Flair.
Oh yeah, definitely. And yes, Daryl, pudding until I have dinner. So 2 thumbs up for pudding.
Yeah, Daryl, that's right. Not Daniel. Has the wrong name.
You didn't know that? Hey, Daryl, me and
nothing wrong with
Tony
pudding.
are now taste tested. He just had raisins with yogurt in it.
I still got some too.
Yeah, so. But Daryl, happy Thanksgiving, and I'll talk to you sometime this week, my brother.
But yeah, Bayley and Charlotte. All right. Connection lost. Now it's back. What else did he say? Tell your wife to come inside. All right.
I don't know if she even left.
Right?
Trina?
She's still around.
No, she went outside. I didn't know that. Oh, shit.
Well, all right. I don't know if you guys caught it or not, but I did mention Charlotte and Bayley were the sole survivors for Team Raw, as Becky was last pinned by Bayley. Miz would defeat Sami Zayn to retain the Intercontinental Championship. And then I'm sure Eddie loved that they brought this back. You can hear her in the hall. Yeah, well, good for you. Brought this back as we got the 5-team Survivor Series elimination match. Tag team champions, The Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus, along with Enzo Amore and Big Cass, the O's, whichever you want to call them. The New Day's Biggie and Kofi Kingston. And the Shining Stars, with Xavier Woods in their corner, defeating SmackDown Tag Team Champions American Alpha, which was Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. Oh, who could forget Fandango and Tyler Breeze as a tag team? Later in Rhino, the Hype Bros, Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder, and of course the Usos.
What a mix-up of wrestlers.
The tag team division. Yeah, tag team divisions were interesting back then, that's for sure. Get the win of last eliminating the Usos to be the sole survivors. So Cesaro must have made one of them tap out to the sharpshooter.
Wow.
And then they had the Brian Kendrick defeat Kalisto, won the title. The entire division would move to SmackDown from Raw. That cruiserweight division that they had at that point was a stacked cruiserweight division, but I feel like, and maybe you think differently than I do about this, but I feel like Vince McMahon just did not know how to book a cruiserweight division.
Oh, Yeah, definitely. I feel like, you go back to the original cruiserweights, they were perfect for SmackDown. I
Right.
mean, the last champion of that original cruiserweight title was Hornswoggle. I mean, come on, Hornswoggle.
Right.
Um, I think when they put it on Monday Night Raw, I think it just didn't fit well with the Monday Night Raw crew. It should have kept on SmackDown because it was another title that. And by the way, they should have brought back the old cruiserweight title and not that
Yeah.
purple and ugly ass color of a cruiserweight title. Like they got it out, like they went to Barney's estate sale and and bought it and bought it from him.
Right.
Good Lord, that title was ugly. I mean, yeah, it worked for Enzo Amore. How you doing? Um, but it was an ugly ass title.
Right. That it was. But yeah, my point is, going back to the late 90s, just Vince didn't really seem to know how to book these smaller guys in matches, I felt like. And when you look at the Cruiserweight Classic to crown the Cruiserweight champion, Triple H actually did a great job in that tournament. But then once they got into Vince's hands and onto Raw, it was all mostly downhill. I mean, I know they lasted a couple of years, but still, things could have been much better than what they were.
I mean, look at the roster for the Cruiserweight Classic. I don't know if I'm wrong, am I right? Was Will Ospreay a part of that?
I'd have to.
I know I almost said Nick Saban Jr. Who's that?
Saber
Who's
Jr.
that other guy that from Japan? Yeah, he's good.
Zack
And
Saber
I
Jr.
know they had yeah, that guy. And who's the guy that's Kenny Omega's friend that was part of the Golden Elite? He's injured right now with a shoulder.
Kenta?
Yeah, I think it is Kenta, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot.
Yep.
Kota Ibushi. Sorry, not Ibushi. That's what I meant.
Yeah, Kodo. Yeah, Ibushi was. WWE should have signed him. That guy has.
The finals. I forgot Grand Metalik was one of the two in the finals. I mean, I remember TJ Perkins was an inaugural Cruiserweight champion, but so they had.
God, please don't remind me of that guy.
You don't like TJP?
No.
I liked him, but that's me. So the Cruiserweight class in Akira Tozawa, Jack Gallagher, Fabian Eichner, aka Giovanni Vinci nowadays, Tajiri, Damian Slater, Alejandro Saez, Grand Metalik, Harv Sira, who was one of the Bollywood boys, Drew Gulak, Zack Sabre Jr., Tyson Ducks, Noam Dar, Gerb Sira, the other half of the Bollywood boys, Arya Davari, Ho Ho. I think they renamed at one point. I can't think of that. Might be Dante Chen, but I won't swear to it. Who, of course, we know now as Cruz del Toro. Ryan Kendrick, Tony Bennett, Tony Nese, Kota Ibushi, Sean Maluda, Vander, who of course got signed to WWE off of the Cruiserweight Classic, Clement Petiot, TJ Perkins, Damac, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Mustafa Ali, Lince Dorado, Rich Swann, and Jason Lee.
The Mac. You know how big that man is? And he was in the Cruiserweight Classic?
He's a big guy, yes. He was.
Oh my God. They could have put, and he didn't win the Cruiserweight Championship?
Like I said, he got eliminated in the first round.
Oh my God.
Right? We kind of just went off onto a whole other subject, but besides the point. But anyway, yeah, D. Brian Kendrick beat Kalisto by DQ in that match. Back on track here at the 5-on-5 Survivor Elimination Team SmackDown. Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins as they got Team SmackDown. What do they call him then? He wasn't the general manager. He was, what did they call Shane and Stephanie at that point? The commissioner, the SmackDown commissioner. Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, and the phenomenal AJ Styles. With James Ellsworth in their corner, of course. Who could forget No Chin himself? But the main thing out of that elimination match was who the winners were. Because the Sole Survivors, of course, was then the Wyatt and Randy Orton. That was kind of the beginning of their story. As we know, WrestleMania that following year would be Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt for the WWE Championship. Sorry, not Universal.
Was that the same match that Roman Reigns speared the hell out of in midair Shane McMahon?
I believe so, yeah. I think it was.
That Randy
Roman did eliminate.
That Randy had to go over to Shane's kids and talk to them.
Because Shane was eliminated by Roman by TKO at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was that. That was an elimination match, too. Because that match went damn near an hour. 50 minutes and 55 seconds.
Jeez.
Probably elimination match in history of Survivor Series, I bet.
Well, when you got future Hall of Famers in that match, everybody needs their spot.
Everybody got their spot, too.
Yeah, jeez.
First 16 minutes in was the first elimination in that match. There's a lot of elimination matches that would end in 16 minutes.
Jeez.
Can I tell you something? Then you go to... I hate to even bring it up. Then you go to the main event of the night. We get the Beast and Carl up against Goldberg. In a minute and 26 seconds, Goldberg picks up the win over the Beast. My take. That match had no fucking business of being the main event of the Survivor Series. It should have been on earlier in the show, and the Team Raw versus Team SmackDown men's elimination match should have main evented.
I totally agree with you. Let's say this. That match was only to sell the return of Goldberg into a WWE video game. And it was...
I mean, this wasn't even in Atlanta. It was in Toronto.
I know. It was the first match between Goldberg and Brock since WrestleMania 20.
Mm-hmm.
And because after WrestleMania 20,
better than this man.
yeah, after WrestleMania 20, Goldberg had another year left on his contract, but didn't want to wrestle anymore. Brock left to pursue a career in the NFL and got cut by his own, which is sad, got cut by the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
And now,
UFC
and now this is 20. That was 2004. Look at it now. The Minnesota Vikings just signed Daniel Jones, who was a quarterback from the New York Giants. And now he's a backup. He's a backup. Like, oh, look. So he just got the Brock Lesnar treatment.
Right? But yeah,
I didn't like the match. I thought it was a waste of time. It was a waste of time for that match. They should have made that match the first match on the card.
Yeah, for sure. I personally think that 2016 was a really good Survivor Series.
Excuse me, sorry.
But yeah, like I said, I felt like 2016 Survivor Series was a really good show other than that main event.
Yeah, most definitely.
They've had. Right. 2017 series really changed into brand versus brand. Instead of just in an elimination matches, we'd see champions versus champion. As this show was live in Houston, Texas, the Toyota show. Sierra Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta. This show was a 6-man tag team action as they went up against the New Day. For the most part, that's one thing for the Shield that you can say, is, no matter whether it was the very first iteration or this later version, a good 3-man team to go up against. If it was the New Day, the Wyatt family, Evolution, even it wasn't very often that there was just three random guys thrown together. I mean, there was times, yes, that they did. They had some great rivalries for the Shield over the years.
Oh yeah, I always, the one I liked with the Shield was when they faced the Wyatt family, and the ones that I really, really liked was the ones when they faced Evolution. And then you had the betrayed of Seth Rollins turning on him. I think that was the one that's still in everybody's mind. The betrayed of Seth Rollins on his brothers. And it still plays out today. I mean, look at the Survivor Series.
It does, right?
It still plays out today that Seth and a couple of times Seth Rollins had matches with Roman. And he brings out the old Shield gear. And then now this year's Survivor Series, they need help going up against the new bloodline. And you get CM Punk, who it intertwines with CM Punk. I mean, I swear to God to you. You know,
right?
I feel like it intertwines with the man that, well, he didn't really make them debut. It's just, it was a part of his storyline. And it's like, look at it now. Seth is not even on the card for this year's Survivor Series, which is baffling. But, you know, Seth needs some time off. Seth don't need to be on every pay-per-view because that man, he busted up his body for 1 year as world champion. Yeah, he needs some time off.
He does. He deserves it. For sure. I see what that is. All right. But yeah, the Shield beat the New Day in a 21-minute match just over, which I'm sure was a great six-man tag team match. I might have to go back and rewatch that one at some point. Follow that up, you got the women's Survivor Series elimination match. I remember Alicia Fox as the captain of Team Raw, then wearing her cap, the whole shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
Also, Sasha Banks, Baymax against Team SmackDown's Becky Lynch, Naomi, Carmella in their corner. Came down to it would be left in there as Team Raw's final member against Tamina and Natalya. Both Tamina and Natalya to tap out as Asuka was the sole first Survivor Series. That match got 18 and a half minutes. And then we'd first champion versus match as you got United States champion Baron Corbin from SmackDown going up against The Miz with Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas in his corner. It's funny. I mentioned Miz and Curtis, but yeah, look at where we are. 7 years later, are kind of in the same in a storyline again, different than what they were back then.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, the B team or the entourage, what I think that Miz called them. Well, yeah, look at the difference. Curtis, Curtis Axel is now a backstage person, and Taylor is looking more and more like his brother with this new version of himself. It is a transformation of a character that used to say Bo leave. I mean, what a transformation to now. And the Miz is the Miz. I mean, at least he got rid of that garbage fedora hat and them ugly ass jeans. Yeah.
Shorts, right?
I mean, yeah. And then what do we say about Baron Corbin? Another wasted talent.
True.
That should have got more of a push.
Yeah, he should have. Unfortunately, no longer in the company, but
no, but he'll get back on his feet. They should have kept him with the War Dogs with him and Braun Breaker, and I don't know. It would have been nice, but this is what we get.
Yep.
But it was an okay match. 2 heels at the time, so it was okay.
Right. And we go from that to the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos versus the Raw Tag Team Champions, the Bar. As you remember, the year before, the Bar last eliminated the Usos to win the Tag Team Elimination match, 5-team on 5-team, 10 on 10. But this year, the Usos got the Bar in the champion versus champion match.
I mean, yeah, what a great.
But I remember anytime you.
Yeah, what a great team. Great match you have with both teams. They're both physical, high flying, and I still to this day I think the Bar should have had a little more better run. I mean, I wish Claudio comes back, but he's having too much fun in AEW.
But yeah, anytime you had the Bar versus the Usos and the Bar versus the New Day special matches, I felt like. All right. And again, Charlotte Flair defeated Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss with the figure 8. There's a shocker. Then before we get to the main event, you got Raw's Universal Champion Brock Lesnar, of course, with Paul Heyman in his corner. Well, a week before, we thought it was going to be SmackDown Mahal. However, Jinder Phenomenal won. AJ Styles your reign. One and the Beast. So I've heard other people say that Brock Lesnar does some great smaller guys, and he really show out in a way. And unless he really wants to cut, which we've seen that before. But this match between Brock and AJ was, pardon the pun, but phenomenal.
Yes, I agree with you. I watched that match back. I go like, thank God Jinder Mahal, because he would have ripped him a new hole. I mean, at least Jinder could say he was a former world champion, but going up against the big dog and Brock, yeah, right move to put it on AJ.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's a great match. I kind of, but it's Brock Lesnar. You pretty much knew he was going to get the win there.
Does Brock have creative control? I mean, I swear, I feel like Brock makes the decision.
Well, I have it whole, but with the allegations that have come out, I'm sure Vince has a lot to do with Brock's winning all these matches. So
yeah.
But anyway, we move on to the main event. We get Team SmackDown, Commissioner Shane McMahon again in there with Randy Orton, Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode, as you were wearing the glorious shirt yesterday. Shinsuke Nakamura, and of course, you can't see me, John Cena. Going up against Team Raw, General Manager Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Samoa of WWE, the CCO, the Chief Content Officer. I recall going into this match, Triple H and Kurt Angle had so many issues, and we're having so many problems on Raw. You thought there was no way pretty much that Raw would be able to win this, but Raw did manage to come together in the end. Victory, albeit with a little bit of controversy, because Triple H did hit pedigree on Kurt Angle, leading to Shane McMahon pinning Kurt Angle. Shane was the final member of Team SmackDown. They got into their issues, but Triple H managed to eventually pin Shane McMahon for him and Braun Strowman to be the sole survivors in this match.
Yes, and the part I liked was Triple H running away from Braun Strowman, because Strowman gave him that look like, what the hell did you just do? Get these hands.
Right? Yeah, it looked like Braun was ready to destroy Triple H at different points in that match. And the build up to it for that match. Supposed to be all out Team Raw. Not all about Triple H. Strowman was an animal, though, in that match. He eliminated Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, and Randy Orton.
That's when they were making him into a monster. I mean, he was...
Yeah. So, this one... Honestly, I feel like I
think we're having technical difficulties with Tony when Tony was trying to say, I think this 2017 Survivor Series was the best. I agree with him. I think this one was the best one. Yep. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, like you were saying, I think 2017 was the best one. I enjoyed it. It wasn't nothing with Goldberg all plastered over it, you know. So I thought it made up for 2016.
Yeah, and like you said, it was a decent enough match to put in Goldberg and Brock. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, move on. 18 Survivor Series in the Staples Center. This one, of course, remembered because Enzo Amore hijacked the show in things of trying to make things about him and ended up getting kicked.
How you doing?
Enzo was no longer part of WWE. All right. The show would kick off with a women's 5-option match as you got Team Raw's Mickey James and Sasha Banks with Tamina Bates in their corner. Defeating Team SmackDown's Naomi, Carmella, Sonya Deville, Asuka, and Rose. Of all people.
What? I cannot
Can you hear me now? Hopefully.
I could barely hear you. What did you say?
Yeah, it says my microphone's goofing up for some reason on here. I'm not sure what last part you heard, but what do you think went wrong with?
I just heard Mandy Rose, and that's it.
This was a Soul Survivor last pick. Where do you think things went wrong for Asuka? The fact that she got called up and Vince McMahon didn't know how to book her, or what exactly went wrong? I mean, she was undefeated in NXT. You got her. Yes, she's the last member of Team SmackDown, but getting beat by Nia Jax. Losing to Charlotte earlier.
Look what happened at the first woman. Yeah, look what happened at the first Royal Rumble. The first Royal Rumble, Women's Royal Rumble. She wins the Royal Rumble as the first woman. And then she loses to Charlotte. And her career just went like up like this, hit the iceberg and went right back down.
Yeah.
I mean, look at her career now. I know she's injured, but look at some of the matches that she has for the world title. She lost against Bianca. She basically is being used. Even during the COVID era, like they had the title on her, and all of a sudden they make her lose to Sasha Banks, who is not even on Monday Night Raw.
Right.
I mean, I understand you want the hug and boss connection to win the tag team titles and the Raw and SmackDown titles, but come on, you have Asuka there. I feel like Vince basically didn't feel she was a top-notch person. She is. If you look at the career of Shinsuke Nakamura, look at Shinsuke.
Right.
Same year. He turns heel and kicks AJ in the balls at WrestleMania. Look at his career. The motherfucker teamed up with Mike Boom or and doing that Shinsuke Nakamura. No, why? Don't ruin his career. Now he looks like now he looks like a version of the Great Muta.
I kind of like this version of him from what little. I'm hoping they do more with it.
And now he's going after the. Now this Saturday night he's going after the United States Championship against L.A. Knight. Yeah. You know, no offense. I'm not predicting because I could change my mind. Please do not have him lose. Please do not have him lose against LA Knight because I feel like this version, you know, Hunter's got to figure out what to do with him.
Right. You got to repair that character somehow, just like he needs to with Asuka's.
And the problem is Asuka's hurt, and what do you do with her? And Shinsuke wasn't even hurt; he was just off of TV for a couple of months because he was doing a Japan tour, you know, helping his mentor, the great Muta. So, you know, hey, it's not bad when you have a great Hall of Famer in the great Muta. You know, so I ain't complaining.
Yeah. No, me either. But Ruth, something's got to change. But speaking of Shinsuke Nakamura, he was in the next match at Survivor Series 2018 as the SmackDown U.S. champion against Raw's Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins. I do remember the match quite really good match between those two with the talent that those guys have. Seth Rollins coming out on top with the curb stomp. What more can you say about it? Like you said earlier that year at WrestleMania, Shinsuke had turned heel with the low blow to AJ. Out of it, he gets a U.S. title run even after having a couple more matches with him. We get this match at Survivor Series. So.
But we can't say that. That WrestleMania entrance with Shinsuke was awesome.
Yeah. All right. That was the first champion versus champion match. Then we got Raw Tag Team Champion OP, Akam and Razor, of course, with Drake Maverick as their manager at the point that time, against the SmackDown Tag Team Champions of the Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus, who had Big Show in their corner. Shocking that AOP actually picked up the win there. You would have thought the Bar would have. The Authors of Pain did.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about Drake Maverick as their manager.
Right?
Oh.
He was briefly. Taking place
Thank God for Paul Ellering, which now is out for a while for hip surgery. But my God,
is that why they wrote him off?
Thank God he is back as their manager.
I didn't realize that's why Paul Ellering was written off. Then we got Buddy Murphy defeating Mustafa Ali to retain the Cruiserweight title. Survivor Series elimination match. You got Team Raw's Bobby Lashley. Actually, I would love to forget because it was where he was pointing at his ass and had Leo Rush as his hype man. Finn Balor was.
I know.
It's teaming with Finn Balor, Braun Ziggler. This was the newer version of Drew McIntyre as well. This was after Drew had come back to the company, had his NXT run, and just came up for running as quite the interesting tag team at the time. Baron Corbin was even one of the managers for that match. Team SmackDown consists of Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy. Shane McMahon was part of this match. And also was the last man eliminated from Team by Braun Strowman. As Strowman eliminated 4 SmackDown to win this match. He made Jeff Hardy, then Shane McMahon. As Strowman drew, and Braun Strowman has to be one of the greatest competitors in these Survivor Series elimination matches. He's got to have probably the most elimination.
I was wondering, maybe you could figure this out. Do they have a list of how many eliminations a person had in one Survivor Series? I mean, in multiple Survivor Series.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably
do. For the Royal, I know they have it. I know they have it for the Royal Rumble, the most eliminations in the Royal Rumble match. But do they have that for the most elimination members of in the Survivor Series?
I'm going to look and see. It seems like you'd be able to find out. Now. So, Randy Orton has the most eliminations in WWE Survivor Series history with 16.
Wow.
Oh, this was.
That's weird.
Big Show's number 2 with 13. Hold on. At the top 10 list here. Last updated, though. Braun was actually top 4. This was last year. Before last year's Survivor Series, after November 20th. So, the list goes, I'm going to go from 10 down, or up, rather. Number 10 is Natalya with. Number 9 is the Ultimate Warrior with 7. Also a 4-0 record in Survivor Series matches. The Rock also has 7, so tied for 9th, really. 8-2 record. Sasha Banks has 7 eliminations as well. And so does Hulk Hogan. Comes in at number 5 with 8 eliminations. Number 4 is the Monster among Braun Strowman with 9 eliminations and 1 record.
Damn.
And number 2, the Big Show with 13, and number 1, Randy Orton with 16 eliminations.
Wow, that's amazing that Randy or Andre's not on that list.
Yeah, no, Andre's nowhere to be seen on that top 10 list. He wasn't in a lot of the.
That is a shocker.
He wasn't really in
that, but still, you'd think that. I know Randy wasn't in that much either, but I know he only lasted until 1993, but but you think with all the Survivor Series matches, you think Randy would be in like some of them, but that was a different era,
right? That is true. Yeah. Also on this show, since we got to this match, talk about that SmackDown versus Raw Women's Team SmackDown was supposed to have Becky Lynch as part of that team. Well, it was not actually part of that team. She was supposed to be in this. But not being able to because of the melee that happened on Raw the Monday before, face by Nia Jax that busted her open and started the whole gimmick for Becky Lynch, really. Instead of Becky getting this match, she went out and picked her own replacement, Charlotte Flair, to go up against Ronda Rousey. Qualification, Charlotte beat the living hell out of Ronda with a kendo stick at the end of that match. What can you say about the whole situation for that women's division going into this Survivor Series? And Charlotte and Ronda had a decent match, but I still think they missed out. I believe was supposed to be what the singles match was supposed to be here, and we never got that one-on-one match between those.
I'm in a minute. Yes, I felt like Charlotte. I mean, look at the dimension. Look at the dynamic of that match. Becky gets replaced by Charlotte. Charlotte beats the living crap out of Ronda Rousey. And at the time, the fans turn on Ronda and starts booing her. And you know how that went. And the man, Becky Lynch, became the top woman in the company, overshadowing, and I know people are going to think I'm wrong, overshadowing Charlotte. Because if Nia Jax didn't break her nose, I don't think Becky Lynch would have been the person she is right now.
Oh, I agree.
And I always felt like that, but
I know there's some people out there.
Yeah. You got to give it up because look at what happened after that. You would never have the main event of WrestleMania, a triple threat match for the Raw and SmackDown women's titles if it wasn't for this then, and Becky Lynch would have just been the girl coming out with steam and them ugly ass glasses.
Right? Pretty much what she was.
You know, I got to give it up to Charlotte. But anyway, to me, I feel like the match between Charlotte and Ronda was what it was because anyway, you're going up against a former UFC world champion and Hall of Famer, and Ronda Rousey, who still to this day said she can't stand WWE fans. So we can't stand you.
Yeah, right? Nice to the company, but it is what it is. Then we move on to the main event where we get a different main event than what we thought we were going to get a week prior again. Because we thought we were going to get Brock again, but instead, AJ drops the title to Daniel Bryan. We get heel versus heel here in the main event. Universal champion Brock Lesnar. But again, another great match between a bigger Brock Lesnar and a smaller. I'll say this: I think his match is a little bit better, but still, he's to these smaller guys. So.
Oh yes, and then we get the Save the Earth Daniel Bryan with that ugly ass WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the WWE Championship version, that ugly ass Planet Championship that they created from that was ugly as hell.
Yes, up with until WrestleMania and Kofi Mania.
Yeah, you know you could still buy that title.
Can you? Who would want it?
Yeah, it's not on the shop, but you look it up and it goes, oh my god, who the hell wants to buy that?
Right. All right. But Survivor Series 2018 was, but again, I thought 17 was better. Move on to 2019, the Rosemont in Rosemont, Illinois, the All-Star. The night where you see what's so special about the 2019 Survivor Series? What made it different?
Well, it was, and I said this to you yesterday after our show, it was one of my favorite Survivor Series. You had Raw, SmackDown, and NXT all in one night. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna giggle like a schoolgirl. Tee hee. This was the best show because you had the farm system going up against the big dogs, and I gotta say this was my best show. So, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not trying to do Paul Heyman. Let's get this started because I have a lot to say about this show because this was one of the best Survivor Series matches since the incarnation of the event.
Yes, I would agree. And this is all thanks to their trip to Saudi, the plane ride from hell. NXT had to pretty much come and save an episode of Friday Night SmackDown because we couldn't get, and that all led to this Survivor Series event being Raw SmackDown. So, thank you to the Saudi people for that. They gave us something at least.
Most likely, and when you said the plane ride, and when you said the plane ride from hell, this was 2.0 because we already know what the first one was.
Yeah. Right. That is true.
Let's just say.
So here we kick off the show. Woo! Had some champions matches and interbrand matches. The main show starts with the women's 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination. And just listen to the stacked roster. You had SmackDown, Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Carmella, and Sasha Banks. For Raw, you had Sarah Logan, Asuka, Natalia, and of course the Queen, Charlotte Flair. NXT, you got Io Shirai, Candice EST, Bianca Belair, and of course, Mommy herself, Rhea Bloody Ripley.
Wow.
15 names that are still most of names in the business. Some of them not, but still.
Hell, half of the SmackDown rosters on AEW now.
Well, we're in AEW because Lacey Evans and Dana Brooke aren't. Well, Dana Brooke's in TNA. Lacey's nowheres, I don't think.
No, she owns a coffee shop now. I mean,
Team Raw, all those girls are still in WWE.
Well, Toni Storm is apparently she retired.
No, yes, but no. Fine.
I mean, hey, she does a great career. This is before her timeless Toni Storm.
Yes. I love this version, to be honest, but that's me.
I do too.
Match that this 5-on-5 women's match was coming down to Sasha Banks actually getting pinned by as Rhea, Candice, and Io were the sole survivors for Team NXT. I remember this match, and I'm going to watch since I've watched it, but I need to go back and rewatch this show because it's one of my favorites as well. But I remember the excitement from the crowd, seeing these NXT ladies, and just This match, even in there, it's surprising she got eliminated by Lacey Evans, but Asuka even at one point forfeited herself to get eliminated out of this match. So, but great things happen.
I mean, yeah, that's a stack right there, like you just said. Team NXT wins their first match of the night, and I gotta say, man, what an all-star lineup you had on there, and some of them are still wrestling. You know, Mommy's going strong, and they're gonna be on the team. Bianca again.
Yeah.
This Saturday in Vancouver, they're a part of War Games.
With
I mean,
Io.
With Io,
yeah.
I mean,
and they're going up against Candice.
And it's amazing. I know, it's amazing. Like, and you know, then you got, well, I can't spoil it, but you know, you got Bianca, then you got, you know, Io, and then you got, you know, Mommy. There's another person that's going to go on it. That wait until Friday night to see who replaces Jade Cargill. Yeah, we all know. Yeah, so it's going to be a great Survivor Series this Saturday.
Matches. Then you got the first, as you got Roderick Strong, who is the NXT North American Champion. You got SmackDown's Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura, Sami Zayn in his corner at that point. And then you got Raw's United States Champion AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Roderick Strong. How do you go wrong with those three as the mid card? Because you can't.
You don't. You don't. I mean, 3 former Ring of Honor wrestlers going at it on a WWE, you know.
Yeah, Shinsuke was
Survivor
on at one time, wasn't
he? Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, look what Roddy's doing now. Look what Roddy's doing now with Undisputed Kingdom. Nothing. But
True.
but great match. Great match. Again, 3 of the workhorses of WWE, and I think that was the right time. And then it would have been nice if you would have put Sami Zayn in there. I mean, that would have been even like a fatal 4-way of 4 of the toughest motherfuckers of the birth of Ring of Honor comes to WWE for one night only.
Yeah, right. Since we all know Sammy was in Ring of Honor under the mask as El Generico, so
El Generico. Yeah.
Brings us to the next match, but I want to ask this to you before I go into it. They had 3 world titles on the line here at Survivor Series in 2019. Do you think that was the right call, or would you have rather seen the 3 champions against each other in a triple threat match?
I would have loved all 3 of them, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, going in a triple threat match. I thought it should have been that way. And should have been that way because we know who, at the time, who was the NXT champion at the time. Adam Cole, baby.
What
the fuck?
It's great.
Adam Cole, baby.
Nothing. Yeah.
Okay, now I went all through. What the fuck?
Great.
Oh,
we have
okay,
a last year.
Okay, this is now getting weird. I got balloons, confetti, and fireworks. Wow, we are really celebrating the holidays.
That we are here on Thanksgiving Eve.
Hey, ladies and
But
gentlemen,
yeah,
if this then updates that I get Santa coming, I get Santa Claus coming through the coming through the thing over me. That'd be the perfect time for the holidays.
I know, right? But yeah, if they would have put it that way, I mean, we would have had Adam Cole versus Brock Lesnar in a triple threat match.
Oh my God, that would have been a oh
phenomenal match. But
that
I mean, who do you have lose? Would have to Adam Cole, no matter who won, I think. But want to do that? Maybe that's why they just didn't book this triple threat match.
yeah, you're. I hate to say this, you would have had Cole lose because I feel like he was just establishing himself in NXT. I know he was a world champion, but you didn't want Bray to lose. You didn't want Brock to lose, but damn, it would have been perfect. It would have like
Right?
three different styles.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Adam Cole's talent would have been even higher than it is today. And I'm going to go back with Adam Cole and say this. He needs to come back home to WWE.
Yeah, that's hard not to agree with that. I mean, he claims he's fine, he's happy with where he's at in AEW, but the man was so better booked by Triple H and NXT and WWE.
Let's say this. He is no longer, and I'm sad for it, he is no longer attached to Brett Baker.
Yeah.
Come back home. Bring the Undisputed Kingdom with you, except Warlow. Bring, Kyle O'Reilly. Do you want to bring, Matt Taven? Yes. Mike Bennett? I don't know. Because he had his run. Maybe Mike Bennett will have a better run down at Trip Hunter's in charge and not Vince. Because who doesn't love the love and story of him and Maria and Kanellis?
Right?
I mean, I just feel like some guys in WWE and AEW who was in WWE need to come back home because their talent's being wasted.
Keith Lee. Whoop. Oh, well,
yeah.
Back on track. We can fantasy book that. That would have been an amazing match. We get Adam Cole beating Pete Dunne. You get the Fiend Bray Wyatt beating Daniel Bryan to retain the Universal title. Daniel and the Fiend would, of course, go on to have a great strap match at the Royal Rumble in 2020, the beginning of 2020 as well. But this is just to build up the start of their rivalry. I'm going to skip over that match for a minute, and then we also got Brock Lesnar match to retain the WWE Championship. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe this is the first time we really in years had seen Dominic Mysterio. If I remember right, Brock Lesnar pulled Dominic into this match pretty much, and Dom did get beat up a little bit by Brock during this match.
Yeah, that was the first incarnate of Dom. Well, not the first incarnate. We know what that one was. The adult version of Dominic Mysterio, and yeah, he did get his ass whipped by Brock in this match, and yeah, it was the first time that we saw him. Wow, what a difference from 2019 version of
Right.
Dominic to now Eddie Guerrero's son.
Yeah, for sure. Would win in 7 minutes. Not a great match, but it was good for what it was. The match before it was because it was the men's 5-on-5 because we got a lot to talk about for that one. You had Team Raw's Ricochet, who's now in AEW, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins, and Walter, aka the Ring General Gunther, Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, Damian Priest, and Tommaso Ciampa. For Team SmackDown, you had Shorty G, aka Chad Gable, Mustafa Ali, King Corbin, and Roman Reigns. So I said yesterday that the 2001 Survivor Series elimination match between the Alliance and teams in Survivor Series elimination matches of all time, this match I think might just edge it out by a little bit. It was amazing in these 15 minutes.
Of course.
I was a huge fan of how it started, but Walter getting pretty early on by Drew McIntyre. But I also know he was under the weather.
Of course. I mean, Raw was stacked with their guys. NXT was stacked. Apparently, the only two good members of Team SmackDown were just Roman and Braun. I mean, God, that team. No offense to Chad Gable and Mustafa Ali, but what the hell? You could have put somebody else in that team. Like, yeah, we're just gonna throw this shit together with your team and give everybody else looking like flowers.
Right? That was crazy. Back at this match, Randy Orton got eliminated by his future tag team championship partner, Matt Riddle, during this match.
Damn.
Yeah. But, so I'm going to fast forward to the end of the match because you held Raw's Seth Rollins, SmackDown's Roman Reigns, and then you have NXT's Keith Lee leading to Rollins to bring down to Keith Lee and Roman Reigns. And those last couple minutes of this match between Keith Lee and Roman Reigns, some of the great in Survivor Series history, in my opinion.
Oh, hands down. I mean, you got the top dog, the OG, going up against a future main roster call up, and Keith Lee in NXT. I mean, it was a good back and forth, but we all know, how Keith Lee's career turned up in WWE when he came up to the main roster, and now he's nowhere to be found. I mean,
yeah,
what a waste of talent. I mean, what a waste, man. I don't know if he's injured or he's just overweight. I mean,
I believe so. I don't know exactly.
I feel bad for him because I like Keith Lee, and I feel like when he came up to Monday Night Raw and beat Randy Orton in that opening debut match, Vince McMahon just let him go, and he was trying to call him the Bear or some stupid ass name, and it messed up his career that he left and went to then he went to NXT, AEW, and had a couple of great matches and won the tag team titles with Whose House? you know,
Swerve's house.
and Swerve. Yeah, I mean, and now he's sitting home grabbing his wife, Meechin's ass.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no, he needs to be a main eventer more so than anything else if he'd come back.
I hope
Triple
so
H saw that
too.
in him.
I hope so because I hope so too because there are some guys in NX and AEW that are former WWE guys that need to come back and eliminate guys. You know, to me, and you could tell me if I'm wrong. I would love the House of Black, the House of Black, Buddy Murphy, Malachi Black, and Brody King. Come to WWE and give
Yes.
that to them. You will make
Yes.
more money than you are
Right?
now. I mean, come on, guys. Buddy.
Well, yeah, because WWE would at least
I mean, come on,
WWE would at
buddy.
least release some merchandise for.
Yeah. I mean, come on, buddy. I mean, swear to God. You and Malachi have two of the hottest ladies as your wife. I mean, buddy, you have Rena Bloody
Yeah.
Ripley, Mommy, and Malachi. You have the hottest woman in New York. In New York, other than my wife. I mean, you have Selena Vega. Get it together.
Yeah. Come back home.
Yeah. And Brody Lee. Hell, bring Julia Hart. It'd be a great time.
Yeah. I could. All right. But yeah, again, Keith Lee, of course, got pinned by Roman after Spear. Roman Reigns wins. But again, Keith Lee just needs to come back too because he, like I said, was the NXT champion for a while. And I just think that Triple H would be booking him more so towards the main event scene than anything else if he came back.
I mean, look at Lexus King. He's finally getting over that he got more over in AEW.
That is true. Not hard to do either, but it's true. You just had to drop that Pillman name in a way.
I know.
Anyway, then we get to the main event of Survivor Series 2019. Somewhat of Mania, except for you had one member that was different, of course, as you got the NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler in there against. Oh, sorry, no, I was thinking Charlotte was in there. No, I'm wrong. My bad. Still, you get a triple threat match, anyways, like you did at the main event of WrestleMania. Just it's NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler, Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch, and SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley in there for this match. And a great match. I honestly, and even looking at it now, it still baffles me, surprises me to see that Shayna Baszler actually picked up the win for NXT in this match.
Well, I agree. I mean, yeah, I agree, but you want to establish. Again, here's another person. NXT was better for Shayna. Her main roster run is still to this day baffles me that she is not going anywhere.
Right. I think they'd do more with her, but they haven't. But yeah, like you were saying, 2019 has to be one of the greatest Survivor Series events just because of the inclusion of NXT. And we just got some amazing out of it.
I feel like the WWE should go back.
Go from that.
And
Go ahead.
tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like WWE needs to go back and add NXT to the Survivor Series again. I mean, I know you got War Games and stuff, but why don't add some NXT matches up on the main roster to feature your major stars? They don't have to be up there, but just do like a match. It will actually show people, hey, NXT is where it is. Look at the division. Look at the main roster of WWE now and look at NXT. NXT is kicking people's ass.
Right. It's great because of what we get from week to week. Because of it. But
I mean, one show is all about the bloodline, and then you have the other show just trying to figure out. You got Raw trying to figure out who's in charge.
exactly. Not seeing my face at the moment, but that's okay.
It's all right. It's fine.
All right. Got things. So, as I was going to say, yes, I agree they should include NXT. What would you think? I'm going to dive more into that question at the end. Let me just wait, and I'll get that question actually when we get done with the shows. I'll keep it on
All right, that's
my
fine.
mind, I think.
Yeah.
Let's move on to, we go from the greatest Survivor Series of all time to one of the darkest, maybe one of the worst Survivor Series of all time. Because there was no crowd, as we have the 2020 Survivor Series in the Thunderdome. Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. This show was about The Undertaker again, because it was 30 years of the Phenom. And we'll get into what exactly he had to do with the show at the end of it here. But first, we got NXT was not involved with this one, of course, even though they're in Orlando, so they could have involved them, but they didn't. The show with Team Raw versus Team Riddle, Braun Strowman, Sheamus, Keith Lee, and AJ Styles with Omos in their corner for Team Raw. For Team SmackDown, you got Otis, Seth Rollins, King Corbin, Jey Uso, and Kevin Owens. Now, of course, this was pretty much before the whole bloodline situations. Jey Uso was still kind of getting of a push, if you will, at that point in time, because Jimmy was out with an injury. So we got to see that. But Jey Uso was also the last man eliminated for, this was another one of those. Okay. So this had to have been the last one, because I don't think they've done really any Survivor Series elimination matches after 2020. A clean sweep here for Team Raw, as Jey Uso was the last one pinned by Keith Lee. Keith Lee, the match for Team Raw, as all 5 members stayed intact in this elimination match to kick off. So really 2 years in a row, Keith Lee had some standout moments for teams that he was a part of, being the last one eliminated for NXT's year, being one that gets the final pinfall and winning the match for Team Raw. It all went downhill from there, of course, for Keith Lee, as we mentioned, but when the one thing I remember, though, and I think a lot of people probably do, Seth Rollins tags himself in right away and then sacrificed himself to Sheamus and ate a brogue kick at 6 minutes and was the first man eliminated for Team Smack. And remember, let alone fathom the fact that Seth Rollins was part of the SmackDown roster to begin with, very long that he was part of the SmackDown roster, because visionary gimmick did start not too long into the, or actually it was not started, it had started by this time, but it was mostly featured on Monday Night Raw. But he was briefly part of the SmackDown roster, maybe for a year, if that.
I mean, I watched that match back, and I'm like saying, Seth Rollins is the first one eliminated from the match. It's like, what the hell just happened? You know, it was an odd, like, he just didn't care and walked out. I mean, that's just what it was.
Pretty much. The good thing for Team Raw was each one of the 5 members of their team got a pinfall victory as well. So, I mean, I guess there's that. Kath with the Brogue, AJ eliminated KO, Riddle eliminated Corbin, Strowman eliminated Otis, and then Keith Lee eliminated Jey Uso. So, it was that. Not something you see all the time. We go from that match. You got the ends of the Street Profits against the Raw Tag Team Champions, the New Day. Not a match we've seen too many times over, but a match personally, I mean, I don't know that the New Day is going to be around much longer after what we've seen this past Monday night. But if they are, I would love to see the New Day and the Street Profits again at some point.
I would too. I mean, yeah, the New Day has won tag team titles. I don't know when the last time they won it, but they have won tag team titles. I know they won the NXT tag team titles. But here's another team, the Street Profits. I think it's time for a change with them. Either break them up or turn them heel. I know they're acting like heels now, but that team hasn't won a tag team title in a long, I think, 4 years?
Something like that, at least. 4 or 5, something more around there.
I just feel like...
Well, it's got to be 4 because they were the tag team champions here.
Angelo Dawkins... Yeah, I feel like Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford deserves better. And if you had to break them up... And I want to say this because I do love Angelo Dawkins. Montez Ford is a star on the rise.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, that guy... That guy is talented. He does that top rope smash like Rob Van Dam. I mean, he should be a single champion.
He should be. And I think the sky's the limit almost in a way for Montez Ford. Angelo, I could see as a mid-card champion maybe, but Ford definitely I could see as a world champion or a day.
Yeah.
But I will say this match, I was surprised to see the Street Profits win because they were still newer to the main roster at the time. And, I mean, they were against Kofi and Xavier, so maybe that's part of the reason why they won instead of Big E being in there. But still a fun match anyways.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
So then we go from that. It's interesting. I got that AEW on the TV. You can't hear it because I got it muted. But from that, you go into another champion versus champion match as you got SmackDown's Intercontinental Champion, Raw's United States Champion, the almighty Bobby Lashley, with the Hurt Business MVP. The kid's on the screen right now. I said it. Bobby gets the win with the Hurt Lock in 8 minutes over Sammy.
Well, you already said what you said. The Hurt Business is now on the Hurt Syndicate is on AEW now. Yep, there you go.
Yep. That they are. Lashley got the win with the Hurt Lock, and we'll move on from there. SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks defeated Raw Women's Champion Asuka. Again, just so many times Asuka has lost over the last few years in matches that she shouldn't have. Because personally, I think she should have beat Sasha Banks in this match. That's my opinion.
No, yeah. If I get started, we'll never get out of here. So yeah, I feel the same way with you.
And you got Peyton Royce, Lacey Evans, Lana, and Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax beating Team SmackDown's Bayley, Natalya, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, and Bianca Belair. Lana won for Team Raw as it came down to Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Bianca Belair were the final four. Shayna got eliminated by this, and Nia and Bianca Belair got counted out. It's just my opinion and a match.
No.
Me, anyways.
Yeah, no, I'm done.
And honestly, no offense to the Street Profits New Day match, but the match really is way to get into. Against champion match. It was the first one-on-one in quite some time, and it was before, of course, the Clash at the Castle match. This was, in my opinion, even looking at Clash at the Castle, which we've seen between Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns.
Other than the interference at Clash at the Castle of Solo, I feel like both of their two matches that they had against one another were pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah. I just out because of the Solo factor.
Yeah. But I get the tribal chief interfering in the match at Clash at the Castle. Yeah, it tainted it a little bit, but I feel like Drew and Roman works really good together.
I agree with that. We'll see how
if it was the chosen one
Roman works with
if it was the chosen one version of Drew McIntyre, then yeah, this match would have sucked. But
right.
This was the new and improved Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. I mean, Roman did win by technical submission. That submission hold he uses at times nowadays too, but was what it was. And then, of course, at the end of this, you get the Undertaker tribute video and the appearance from the Undertaker. 30 years in WWE. And he calls it, as you mentioned earlier, the dark days, if you will, the saddest entrance of all time for him. The Undertaker comes out and in front of nobody announces,
I wish they would have waited a year and did it then for him to say goodbye, because yeah, it just felt like, okay, we got to do something for him. I mean, I get that. You want to say goodbye to him, say goodbye to a glorious career. But to have no fans there to acknowledge him as one of the greatest entertainers, and through the decades, a man changed his. I mean, if you look at every version of The Undertaker, man, he changed his persona, his character, from the red-headed Undertaker to the Undertaker that came back and wrestled the Undertaker to the dark side, to the Ministry of Darkness Undertaker, to the American Badass Undertaker, back to the American Badass slash old Undertaker. I mean, to the Phantom of the Opera Undertaker. This man should have had more acknowledgement with fans there. But I get it. We're in COVID, and we got what we got.
It sucked.
Yeah.
It's true that way. But... All right. So we'll move on. Like I said, in my opinion, that is one of the Survivor Series of all time. Not a lot of it, I think, is due to the fact that there was no, but even the booking just for the show kind of fell flat, other than the main event match. So that brings us to 2021 in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Back in front of a crowd. As we kick off the show, you get Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch against SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. These have really good matches against each other.
Oh, definitely. They always did. Yeah, definitely.
Went from elimination match to elimination match. You get SmackDown, King Woods, Happy Corbin, and Sheamus with Madcap Moss against Team Raw's Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Austin Theory, and Bobby Lashley. With it. Team Raw gets the win with Seth Rollins as the sole survivor, last pinning Jeff Hardy. Pretty good tight 5-on-5 match there. And then he's not even there, but they advertise this as the Rock 25th Anniversary Battle Royal, as they throw 25 men into a dual branded Battle Royal. Because they debuted. You should have had an appearance from the Rock. That's my main thing on it. Omos last eliminates. Anyways. Tag Team Champions RK Bro beating SmackDown Tag Team Champions the Usos. That was not too long before the Usos would become the unified tag. Randy Orton would get taken out of action for a couple of years, pretty much. It was still a good tag team match between the Usos and RK Bro. The women's elimination match, you got Team Raw's Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina, defeating SmackDown's Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, Natalya, and Toni Storm. With Bianca eliminating 3 Raw men in a row. First Natalya, then Baszler, and then Shotzi, or SmackDown. Down out just before that from SmackDown, so it was 4-on-1. Bianca Belair really match being the sole survivor. Then in the main event, you got WWE Champion Big E going against the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Big E was on the post series. It was amazing to see Big E as the WWE Champion. I wish they would have did more with it, and probably said it in the prediction show going into the Survivor Series. I'll say it still. I role that Roman was on, but I think Big E should have won this match. I mean, the title wasn't on the line, so what's the big deal if Big E beats Roman Reigns?
Oh yeah,
Big E needed it more.
I agree with you. I think E should have won. I mean, it's a New Day thing. I mean, look at this. We get into it more. Man, between Kofi and E, they have both lost their titles to Brock Lesnar.
Yep, they did.
which is a shame because, well, we know what's going on with the New Day right now. We don't know if we're ever going to see Big E. You know, it's a shame that his career got cut short due to a freak accident. And who knows if he ever going to come back to wrestling. I wish he would, but I know I understand the circumstances.
Right. I did see that they supposedly had different things they've talked with him or talked about to have him do at this New Day celebration this upcoming Monday night. So, and potentially even fingers crossed, maybe he has finally been cleared.
I hope so.
I'm hoping. Rowan did get the win match. Great match between those two. I just don't agree with who won the match.
Mm-hmm.
In 2020 Survivor Series, but still wasn't a great Survivor Series. Let's put it. 2020.
Yeah. But at least the right woman won, and it was not named Lana.
That is true. Oh no, I didn't want that to pop up. So then, what made Survivor Series 2022 special, though, Eddie? What changed for Survivor Series come 2022?
Well, 2022 was the debut of a former WCW pay-per-view Fall Brawl, but they didn't use that name. It was the debut of War Games.
Match Beyond. Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
It was the main roster debut War Games, anyways. Because we've seen it on NXT. And we'd kick off Survivor Series 2023 with the very first, on the main roster, anyways, Women's War Games match. Team Damage Control, Bailey, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky, along with Nikki Rhea Ripley, go up against Team Belair, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, and nations in it. We saw, of course, Team Belair pick up the win in an almost 40-minute War Games match. That was good to see that because, of course, at SummerSlam that year, a couple months prior, was when Bailey had returned from her injury that had her out for over a year, and she brought back Io and Dakota, who had been released previously and brought back by Triple H at that point, really. But storyline-wise, by Bailey. They wanted to do for a long time have this own that were brought up from NXT. Io was brought up, of course, and brought up. So Bianca were the ones that were in the match that Bailey and Damage Control were. Becky and Bianca were. But it was a fun first ever Women's War Games match on the main roster. Fun fact. I believe they said Bianca Belair pretty much. Maybe it wasn't part of last year. Let's try. Bianca Belair, I'm sure, has been all three, including this year's Women's War Game matches on the main. Io Sky has been in every WWE War Games match, including in NXT. So that is impressive.
I wonder if Rena was in every War Games. I know Dakota's been in. I know Dakota Kai been in 2 of them, but that was in the NXT version. I know she was in, but I know Io's been in every War Games.
WWE version War Games. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, there. I'll get to that in a moment when we get to the 2023 one. Then we'll figure that out for sure. Then they had of Judgment Day versus the OC. It did so much more with this. It was a great match between AJ Styles and Finn Balor, which AJ won. But I felt like there was so much more they could have done between these two during the draft. They have AJ Styles and the OC go over to SmackDown and have the Judgment Day stay on Raw.
I mean, I agree with you. You had two, and I'm doing this. You had two members of the founder and a leader of the Bullet Club going at it. Do more.
Yeah. And you have enough guys that did. And I know that wasn't the first time we'd seen Balor versus AJ because we had that was a few years prior, but still, the storyline was there. They could have done more, given Gallows and Anderson, Damian Priest, and Dom in there. Nice, but it was what it was. Ronda Rousey beat SmackDown Women's title. That was that. With Shane on his corner. Austin Theory beat Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley in a triple threat match. Become decent run as you had a victory over John Cena at the next year's WrestleMania. Unfortunately, Austin Theory has, for the most part, I mean, he was one half of the tag team champions with Grayson Waller for a brief period, but still. Theory's career has kind of gone downhill since after beating John Cena at Mania. And then, of course, the main event, the men's War Game match. Oh, unless you want to say something about Theory before I jump.
No, it's fine.
You got the Team Brawling Brutes, which was along with Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens, against the Bloodline. Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, and Sami Zayn. What a masterclass put on in this match in the Bloodline itself. Just the story that was going into this match. Can you trust that Owens being in there against him? All the turmoil. Just cinema, if you will, we got out of this entire War Games match.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I feel like the War Games hasn't let us down in the main roster. It has been some instant classic matches that we had with the last 2 years that has been in existence. I mean, even on the women's side, because they had it in NXT, but man, every War Games match that I've seen has been the best War Games matches I've seen. And hopefully this year they're gonna top it. But the man I'm watching at this year's War Game, and I hope he does really good. I want to see what the Samoan Wolf, Jacob Fatu.
Yeah.
What the hell is he gonna do at this year's War Games? Because that motherfucker is a beast. I mean, I cannot wait to see what he does in that ring.
Right?
Oh God, yeah.
So, man, how do I put this? To me, I know it's only been 2 years. We've only seen 4 of them so far. But to me, this Bloodline War Games match against the Brawling Brutes has been the best War Games match we've seen on the main roster, at least. Up to this year or not. But
almost definitely. I totally agree with you. I feel like this was one of the best for the inaugural. If you really want to go into it, like with the one I liked was the ones in NXT were all so great too. I mean,
Yeah,
hell,
the Undisputed Era
Pat McAfee.
was in pretty much every men.
I mean, Pat McAfee was even in a War Games match.
Was against the Undisputed Era.
And that was that was a surprising one. And what was the one that Ricochet went up on top and did he crash on Ciampa when he dove over the top of the cage?
Yeah, because he was teaming with Ciampa. He was teaming with Ciampa because it was Ricochet, Ciampa. I think it was Keith Lee and Dijak, I believe, were the four.
Yeah. I mean, that one was even good. I mean, that was even an excellent one too. I mean,
yeah, I remember that one.
I love these War Games.
Yeah, me too. But I remember that one was where Ciampa hit the air raid crash off the top rope to add up the win through tables, if I remember correctly.
Most definitely. I mean, I love these War Game matches. I mean, I've been watching War Games since in the incarnation in WCW. But
right,
I'm going to say, I know it's a Dusty's creation because it was for the Horsemen. But I love the roof not covered. I love when it's open that the guys can do all these crazy ass moves. And I feel like, and girls, and I feel like this War Games 2.0, I think this is the best version than the WCW ones.
I agree. I mean, we still see the WCW version used in AEW because they put the cover on top. But yeah, I think that the WWE's version with the no, much less limiting.
Yeah. The only problem, and I know this is going to sound cheesy, the only problem I have with the War Game setup, have the guys come from the back and not have to put them in a cage.
I think I agree with that. I mean, that's how WCW did it. Was they just come from the back instead of being in cages? But the cages have led to some pretty interesting stories as well.
Oh no, I get it, but I feel like the shark cages mean absolutely nothing. But yeah, but you did have the heel turn of Dakota Kai on Tegan Knox. I mean, you had some good moments, but I still feel like the cage means absolutely nothing if they're going into War Games. They're going into the double ring surrounded by thin. You don't need to put them in a cage. It's like, just do a flip coin in the goddamn back and just let them run out.
Right, because even with the cage being involved like that, for instance, the Dakota Kai Dakota Kai and Tegan Knox thing, they could have showed that backstage. Dakota was getting ready to come out, I guess, technically. And you could still, like Roman saying, no, you're not going out there yet. This guy is. You could just in a cage as well.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, that's the way I feel. I feel like, you got something there. I mean,
all right. Well, let's move on to last year's Survivor Series. We kick out again with the Women's War Games match. I have a feeling they probably will this year too. But last year's was Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch, 4-on-4. I got Bayley, Asuka, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane with Dakota Kai in their corner. One thing that sticks out the most from that Women's War Games, Charlotte embracing during the match, kind of getting back on the same page, working together. The baby faces did pick up the win. Bianca's team won over Dam. But yeah, that means Bianca Belair has been a part of every main roster War Games match at least.
Yeah. Well, at least we know that Rena wasn't a part of this
But
one.
right, Io's been in every one, and should I spoil it or not? Been in every one as well.
Go ahead.
Bailey has been in every Women's War Games match as well, including this year.
Holy shit! I never knew that. So she was in the ones in NXT too.
No, she wasn't in the NXT ones. I just said in the main roster.
Main roster, okay. Yeah, that's oops, we messed up. We said it.
I said it was. You didn't already notice from Raw Monday.
Yep. We just pulled a Paul Heyman.
Yes, we did. All right. And then after you had Gunther defeating The Miz to retain the Intercontinental Championship by submission, that match happened. It was okay, but Mrs. Escobar defeated Dragon Lee. Rhea Ripley beat Zoe Stark to retain the Women's World Championship. And JD McDonough in there with Drew McIntyre as their partner against Cody Rhodes, Seth freaking Rollins, Jey Uso. We thought the War Games match had all started when those 9 men were in the ring. Rhea Ripley goes to the Money in the Bank.
Sorry, we were having technical difficulties again. There you go.
Yep.
We heard.
You hear me now?
The Viper. Yeah, I can hear you now. We heard the. I hear voices in my head. They count for me. They understand. They talk to me. They talk to me. We heard the Viper Randy Orton's music first time back in over a year and a half.
Yes. As Randy Orton made his return and looked phenomenal. Probably the greatest shape we've seen him in, honestly. But men went at it. We get the end of the match. The baby faces pick up the win again. As we mentioned, for the women's side, Jey Uso and Sami Zayn are the only 2 men that have been in every men's War Games match on the main roster as well so far, and that includes this year. They've won both matches as well. We'll see if that continues this year. Baby faces get the win. They're celebrating Survivor Series. And 1 year ago, what happened after the match ended in the baby faces were still in celebrating? I mean, Drew McIntyre had stormed off at this point.
Yeah. We get the return of Chicago's favorite son, CM Punk. 10 years. Oh, sorry. 11 years since. Oh, yeah, 10, but now it's 11 years since his last appearance at Survivor Series. The Chicago Sun comes back home to WWE.
Yes. And, I mean, we talked about matches, the greatest matches. That, to me, there's been moments. I mean, The Undertaker's had his moments, but action and everything that was involved in it, CM Punk's return was probably, if not one of the greatest moments in Survivor.
Most definitely. Because you had a guy that left because he didn't like the way he was being treated in his creative with Vince. He comes back. He stood away for 10 years, went to AEW, and you know what happened to that shit show? You know, him with Jack Perry,
right,
and him with Hangman Page, and The Elite. I mean, the Elite kicked his dog. Like, what the hell? I mean, two injuries with his shoulder. I mean, it wasn't the ideal situation for Punk, but it's nice to see him back home and doing something this Saturday at War Games.
Right. Yes, because for the first time, CM Punk steps in to War Games.
Whew.
Only thing in War Games, but
only thing I gotta say to CM Punk, watch a lot of War Games on Peacock to learn what the hell to do.
Right, that's for sure. So yeah, the last 2 years, it'll be 3 years this year, have been one seen a Survivor Series elimination match miraculously there. So here's my question for you. I've got 2 questions here. First of all, War Games related. Do you like a Survivor Series, or do you think WWE should move War Games to a different event?
You must know me really well, don't you?
And then maybe over the last year plus.
Okay, good. September. In September of 25, WWE presents Fall Brawl, the War Games, the match beyond.
Yeah, I would love to just see Fall Brawl be brought back and put War Games on there. To me, I know a lot of people, I've seen it on social media, I've heard it from people before. A lot of people say that the elimination match, but to me, about those traditional Survivor Series elimination matches, I want to see those return. I don't care if you do Raw versus SmackDown. I just want to see matches return because I feel like that's what Survivor Series is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And War Games just isn't it.
Like you're absolutely right.
And don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed the last couple of years of Survivor Series, but I still nation matches back.
No, I totally agree with you. I feel like War Games should be a separate entity, and that's the way I feel. That's the way I feel, that it should be a separate entity, and you go from there. Like, hell, I still think that October should be Halloween Havoc.
It is just an NXT.
Yeah, but I feel like it should come up to the main roster.
Right. No, that makes sense. But it's just, like I said, for me, I miss seeing the elimination tag team matches, we don't matches like that anymore, anywheres at any point in time. So I always enjoyed it.
Yeah, I do too. I've been watching it since 1987. I've been watching it when it first came out. I mean, I know people online are always saying it's stale, it needs to change. I get War Games is doing that, but War Games should be in a separate entity and get Fall Brawl, because we're going into a new era of WWE. They're going on Netflix with Monday Night Raw. SmackDown's on USA. The CW got NXT. I mean, we're going into a new era that, you need to figure something. Hell, the return of Saturday night's main event, which has been a part of my childhood for a long time. I mean, hell, bring back a WCW special. I mean, for the love of God, we need to. You need to record. Maybe if you want to do Survivor Series, put NXT on it. It'd be great.
Yeah, I agree. I'd be fine with NXT being brought into it again and doing the 3 brands instead of just the 2. Or even if they didn't want to do that, you could do the main.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that needs to change. You know, WWE, yes, I know TKO owns it now, and I feel like it's starting to get a little better. But you do not want to get rid of Survivor Series. It's been part of the Big Four for so many decades, and you already changed the Royal
Right.
to February because of the Super Bowl and because of the Indianapolis Colts. What more can you do? You have all these Saudi shows. You have all these. I don't know what they want to do because in September, what do we have? What was the pay-per-view in September this year? Was it the Bash at Berlin?
I think so.
I mean, Fall Brawl, War Games. Bring back a tradition.
Yeah, for sure. Go back far enough. Oh no, September we didn't have. That's right. September was a month that WWE didn't have. They had No Mercy. NXT No Mercy roster didn't have any show in September.
Yeah, bring back that. Hell, if you want to bring it as a special, you don't really have to do it like bring back Fall Brawl, see if anybody would want to buy it. Hell, I feel like in December, bring back Starrcade.
Right? No, I almost hate to say this, but I almost feel like December-wise, they might push Survivor Series back to December just because you have Crown Jewel at the beginning of November otherwise. So I could see them doing Survivor Series, maybe pushing back to the beginning of December, which would be stupid because it's always been a Thanksgiving weekend or Thanksgiving Day or Thanksgiving Eve tradition.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to get frustrated. It's the night before Thanksgiving, and we're getting frustrated over a goddamn pay-per-view.
Wow. Yeah, but when you look at the history of Survivor Series and you talk about, like we mentioned, Dolph Ziggler running the gamut, eliminating 3 guys, outlasting 3 guys. I mentioned even tonight, Bianca Belair eliminated 3 women. It really was 4 on at one point, and she managed to be the sole survivor team. Those are some things that just stick out to you and jump out at you when you talk about Survivor Series elimination matches where people survive the numbers, and it's just something you don't get now with just having War Games on there. Yes, in a way could say who match survives to get to the end of it, potentially if they win, but it's just not the same.
No. It's like they just threw that shit together because they had no room. They had no room for the other crap. It's like, don't ruin something when it's going really good.
Right. And even if they didn't want to take War Games off of there, you still could at least have one traditional elimination match, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know. Just sometimes I just get aggravated with it because I feel like they can do more. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're just wasting time on it, and it's sad.
right? But anyway, that's art, anyways. Survivor Series has always been one of my favorite shows, and I just want to see more of the traditional Survivor Series back into the fold instead of just doing the war games that we've got now. Nothing against war games, just
Yeah,
I feel like it needs to be moved.
I feel like they just didn't know what to do with Survivor Series, and they just let's just throw war games onto it, see how and see if it hits the fan.
Right. But anyway, this has been our longest retrospective show of the four, which isn't surprising because we talked a lot about different things from each show pretty much, but in a hurry. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Thanks a couple people that mentioned. We appreciate it. We'll be back on the air Saturday, hoping that the snow isn't too terrible, the weather and the roads aren't too terrible. Lee's house. If not, we'll still be online like we are now. As you see the balloon and the fireworks in the background. But again, thanks for everything, guys. We appreciate you watching. We hopefully enjoying these shows, these retrospectives. Next month, we do have a couple things lined up at least. Starcade, we'll talk some Saturday night's main event. Maybe a couple other things as well. We'll throw some GLWA in there because we got a couple shows we could catch up on through that.
Nice.
We'll see what happens with that. But first, of course, Survivor Series. Look for our prediction show either way.
Most definitely. And ladies and gentlemen, most definitely, because I just bought the sandwich, so hopefully it is at my house.
That'll mostly be on
ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say to you, 2025 here at Tiger Talk Wrestling is going to be amazing because we have a lot of stuff that we're going to do, and Tony and me have talked. I cannot wait to do the Royal Rumble retrospective.
Yes. We'll be working on that in January, leading up to the Royal Rumble itself. So that will be a lot of fun. And like I said, we got a couple other things coming through the pipeline in December 1st. We will catch you guys on Saturday, one way or another, with our Survivor Series prediction show. Hope you all have a great night. Thanks again for joining in here.
And happy Thanksgiving. It's the gobbledygooker.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.